Hello, good afternoon. My name is Gwendolyn Lopez, and I will be presenting to you my comparative biology presentation. I will be presenting the digestive system and organs of the following phylums: the Arthropoda, the Chordata, and then the Mollusca. So for the first organism, I have a crayfish, which belongs to the phylum Arthropoda. For the second organism, I have a lancelet, which belongs to the phylum Chordata. And for the third organism, I have the mussel, which belongs to the phylum Mollusca. So back to our crayfish. So for this first picture, these are going to be the gills, number 1. Number 2 is going to be the heart. Number 5 is going to be the stomach. And it's not labeled, but these are going to be the digestive glands. And this picture over here is basically going to be a magnified and dissected picture of the stomach. This over here is the gastric mill, which contains these 3 parts. These are basically going to act as teeth and grind down the food when the crayfish eats. So when the crayfish eats and the food passes through the mouth, it'll then pass through the gastric mill, which will grind down the food, and then it will pass through the digestive glands over here, which will further help break down the food by secreting enzymes into the food. The food will then be passed through the intestines and then out the anus. So for our second organism, the lancelet, it belongs to the phylum Chordata. Number 1 up here is going to be the dorsal fin and fin ray. Number 2 over here is going to be the dorsal nerve cord. Number 3 down here is going to be the notochord. Number 4, the pharynx. Number 5, the wheel organ. Number 6, the gill bars. And then this over here is going to be the oral cirri. The oral cirri helps capture food and then helps pull it into the wheel organ, which then helps push the food into the stomach, which leads to the pharynx, and then will eventually pass through down here where the gill bars are. The gill bars are going to capture the food while letting out the excess water that was swallowed while capturing the food. This captures all the nutrients that the lancelet will need, and it isn't shown because it's only like half the picture. But there is a tube leading from the pharynx down to the anus where it'll then push out the food. So for our third organism, we have the mussel, which belongs to the phylum Mollusca. This area where number 5 is labeled is going to be the gills. Now, when the food enters the mussel, the gills are going to capture the food and push out the excess water. These gills have cilia, which help push up the food, and it's going to push up the food in this direction. It isn't labeled, but over here is going to be the mouth, which will then be pushed into the stomach. The food will be pushed into the stomach. And down here, this whole thing is going to be the intestines, where the food will be passing through. It will then be passed through the pericardium. And then then pushed out this way, out the anus. And those are going to be the digestive systems of these phylums. One of the similarities that I did find between these is going to be the digestive glands in the arthropoda and mollusca. Another one is going to be the gills in the mollusca and the chordata, which do the exact same thing. They catch the food and push out the water that the organisms don't need. One big thing that I found that was totally opposite was how the crayfish has a gastric mill and basically has teeth which grinds down the food, which is something that these two do not have. And I thought that was really interesting, and that'll be all. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.